crypto market is starting to give you some signals. Look at the volume and the price action. It is literally suggesting you something. And it is not just in Bitcoin. It's not just in XRP. The signs are different in different assets for sure. Here in Ether, you're watching on a daily chart, the volume was neutral. There was selling volume, but the selling has been like limited. So the price action is neutral. Whereas you look at the Bitcoin side, you have massive selling volume on the daily Bitcoin chart, but that didn't actually end up as a huge bearish candle. So there is a bit of divergence. Now, if you look at XRP, again, you had a higher level of selling compared to the last day, but the price action was not engulfing the last day. So short term, you're still choppy for sure. There is no difference. You're still inside the pattern. You need to break above the moving average on a 3-day chart. You need to break above the moving average on a weekly chart. All of that still remains the same. But if you do look at what's happening on the news cycle within the market, you're watching positive movement. When a judge just slaps SEC saying you have to pay this for a crypto company, that's a lot for the SEC to digest. Then you come into the sentiment, and they kind of give you the idea like the market is slowly showing you a breakout. That's a good week. The best thing here is maxis are now starting to say Bitcoin and crypto, because initially it was just Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Now it's changing. Why do you think that is so? When you look at the market and its rebound compared to the stock market, compared to the commodities market, you kind of get an understanding, yeah, it's changing. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, if you look at XRP on a 3-day Heikin, you're watching that the RSI is showing you some positive move. The MACD is crossing to the upside. Price is flirting with that moving average. But yet again, we know the truth. Last time, the time before that, each time where you did that, you kind of had a couple of days or a couple of candles which were red. So we haven't seen something like that yet. And I'm like, okay, let that come. It's okay. That's repeating the history. And that's XRP on a 3-day chart. Now, while all of this happens, you need to keep an eye on this too. I would argue this is really important. Credit ratings of banks are going negative. That's something big. So for TD, that wouldn't be a surprise. They already know what's happening. So the market should start digesting that properly. Now let's come into the crypto side of things and say, why are we slowing down? Because the dollar has been bouncing from its local trend line support. That's a medium-term trend line. So right now, the argument should be this is the resistance. You may have to come back to test the resistance, which is close to 105.6. So if you don't break to the downside here, that means dollar is weighing against the market. But we know, say, assets like silver, it's been pushing higher. So if you're on a 3-day chart, weekly chart, monthly chart, what you're watching is a huge change in the momentum side. Yes, a daily, a 3-day short-term chart for silver, for gold. You need to be on the monthly to know which direction you're going. That's important because your dollar is being devalued, debased. And if you're in assets like crypto, like gold, anywhere else, you will actually hedge that movement in the market. Now, let's actually be clear about this. If you look at the Ether and its volume, and you look at the total altcoin market and its price to volume, you're still showing some bullish outlook. Say you put that into a Hiknashi, you see, okay, we're still maintaining this level. We're not dropping lower. You go on a 3-day chart, you're still above the moving average. You're still green. And historically speaking, when you do that, these kind of moves. So this is the altcoin chart on a 3-day Hiknashi, and it shows you last time when you bounced off the moving average, you stayed there with long wicks for 3 candles, after which you started grinding higher. And what's normal about that is during that time you got the MACD cross to the upside. Now, as of now, you still don't have it. Most likely next 2 or 3 candles are needed to do that, which means another 6 to 9 days is what you're looking at for the MACD to cross to the upside, the price to start giving you some bullish signs. So now you take that idea into Ether, you put that on a 3-day chart and put it on a Hiknashi. This is what you're watching. You're still way above the moving average. The MACD has already crossed to the upside. So if you look at the history of this asset, it's clear. Now, say if you are generally looking at the Bitcoin, this is something which you should not miss. Whether you go back to 2022, whether you are looking at 23, whether you are looking at 24, each of these times when you have the MACD cross to the upside, the RSI staying above 55, there has been just one result. The price went up. But while the MACD was crossing or trying to cross to the upside, you had a drop of 11% in 2022. You had an average drop of like 7% in 2023 and 2024. Here it was 11, here it's 7. So as of now, you have already done 7% correction, which shouldn't be a surprise. But what next is the biggest thought process, right? So when you're on a monthly, say you're going on to XRP, you're like, okay, we haven't changed anything. The monthly is still red. Whether we like it or not, it is the same. You go on a weekly chart and you see that the weekly is looking to the upside, but you don't have the momentum. So you go in, you zoom in at least to the short-term level to see, are we having that idea that we are going to the upside? Do we have the MACD crossing to the upside? Do we have a breakout? So XRP, as of now, is showing you that it is following the trend. For sure, that's fine, that's good. But we don't have a breakout yet. The MACD hasn't crossed to the upside. So there is a lot of different things aligning in this market. Especially when you go into the total market and you're looking at like, okay, some of these assets are running up. You actually saw breakouts calls in the SI family for most of them. If you're watching like, first 300, 400 assets and you're looking at some and saying, okay, they're starting to break higher, you actually got informed that was coming in the scientific investor family. We went through a lot of different tokens to find the best tokens which were closing in on a breakout, and we got to see some of those. Now, the breakout is just the starting portion. You get a retest, you get a bounce. So this is where you kind of use the market. See, this meme coin is up 35% for the week. If you go look at what we were onto in the scientific investor family, we had a trade on the same asset, and that was actually a good trade. We actually did leverage, not sky high leverage, but something decent. And we ended up closing that asset with a decent gain. That was close to 50% gain in that meme coin. One of the reasons why I say that is, keep in mind, the meme coins are now slowly starting to push higher. you are getting a lot of breakout in DeFi side and the meme coin side. So if you are not aligned perfectly, if you don't have exposure to the DeFi side, if you don't have exposure to the meme coin side, you are most likely missing some portion of it. Because when you're watching assets running up, 7 out of 10 now belongs to memcoin and DeFi. So if you don't have any exposure there, you should be starting to think, what should I do? What can be a best positioning? What are the good assets? Which of them are starting to break higher? If you want help in those, the Scientific Investor family is there. You have a ton of posts over last 24 hours, over last 7 days, all highlighting the fact that these are the coins which are looking great as an opportunity. Some of them, if they are red flag. So yes, you get 70 to 100 assets, charts every week, and most likely 10, 12 charts every day. If you want a one-on-one communication to discuss about your portfolio, what I think about your portfolio, your positioning, your risk reward, and what you may literally expect from this market based on your current positioning, you can look at the link in the description below in YouTube or in the bio in Twitter. So guys, if you received value for your time and you haven't smashed that like button yet, I would request you to do that. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.